At the time, I lived behind a surfboard shop. It was literally, my house was like right behind it. So I was in it all the time. Um, Partly because my family, or they're a bunch of surfers, and I just don't care about it. So I'm just sort of there, and I'm stuck, like waiting for them. And so I think he just took pity on me because he's seen me there for years, just being miserable in his store, wanting to do something else. And he's like, I know you like Pokemon. Here you go. This thing's not selling. Your dad comes in and buys surfboards, and your brother does, and like equipment and leashes and crazy things all the time. So here you go. This thing's just taking up shelf space at this point. And it was like a just this huge box of Japanese Yu-Gi-Oh cards before it was even a thing in the U.S. It was this weird mystery box to me, and it was like the English cards didn't get printed when the anime first aired in English, so it sent me and my friends and into this weird like adventure to go research what the cards were, and we looked up stuff from like Japanese websites and used like broken translators, and we mixed up the Bandai version of the card game's rules with what we could find, and it was like we tried to piece together, reverse engineer how to play the game from what we saw in the anime and the broken version of the Bandai rules and the few actual rules, the OCG. That was pretty crazy times. Everything was like a this mysterious thing to solve, puzzle to unlock. It's kind of one of my most cherished memories. Um, some of my like with my best friends figuring out in my neighborhood how that game worked and mostly succeeding. And it was even trippier watching the anime because like there's no back then there was no oh shoot, I picked the wrong card. There was no like websites or fan sites up yet. It wasn't like a thing. You'd have to like really. So we knew this guy. Um, we had some friends that knew some Japanese that they we had also used some like software, crude like Japanese software translating for like this application for like Windows XP to like translate stuff from a blog, like a bunch of different blogs, and we didn't. There was a lot of context too, and it was like poorly. The grammar was not good. So between that and this one guy that helped us, we pieced some of it together, and then we sort of figured out the Bandai issue. But what was trippy about it though was the anime being about how like Yugi getting that VHS tape and then popping in, and then he's like challenged. Um, because we had been VHS tape, like we used VHS tapes to copy off the TV all the episodes so far, so we could go back and watch it and like match cards to things. How do I? It's basically it's funny how Rush Duel resembles how me and my friends kind of played the game in like the early days, except like somebody actually came up with like a polished set of rules where it's you draw cards until you have 5 in your hand or something, or 7, and then you just summon as many monsters as you can. Like there's um, no normal summon limit, and then everything's really simplified. You play spells on your turn, you play traps on your opponent's turn, and when it's your turn, you can just summon. You draw till your hand's full, and you summon as many monsters as you want. I think the only thing that put me off on Ancient Gear Golems was the anime character's aesthetic in the show. They didn't really again, I didn't really get a chance to watch it. It was just sort of like in the periphery, and I didn't even realize like 4Kids had become sort of self-aware when it came to their terrible localizations, and decided to go like, hey, we're gonna straight up ape on Little Karibo now. Like, oh, that sounds like the coolest thing. Like, I just imagine what it would be like to be like a kid buying like Yu-Gi-Oh cards for the first time, and the first deck that you get is like Ancient Gear, Gadgetron, Dragon structure. It's just like all kinds of cool packed into like one long run-on name. How could you not like that? You stood no chance. The marketing team, they had you from the get-go. There was no hope. No hope for your wallet. Yeah, how many Runic players played Red Reboot? Ha! Bet you didn't think of that. Bet you didn't think of that. The verses. I think my day is a lot older than yours. You made me feel old. Yep. Yep. The guy just, he was so frustrated with it. He was just like, because at the time, kind of breaking character here, my bad. Got rid of their Chaos Hunter. I feel like a scumbag. Sorry, Chaos Hunter. You don't get to play. Ah, unlimited breadsticks. An alien Christmas. So it was really disappointing though. Some of the cards, it was hard to just like to believe the actual translation because the anime made it so much cooler sounding. Like the Mako Tsunami episode, the Mystic Moon and Umi. Like when we realized we had those cards and it corresponded to the ones in the episode that aired, then we found out it's just like, oh, this is just a field spell card, and this is just an equip card for beat. That's all that does. I was like, oh, oh, right, I guess. Did they retroactively make Slifer good now though? Something? Yeah, I know they tried to like make legit versions of the god cards that actually worked, and then they tried to add support for each of the god cards, but I don't think it amounted to anything. I see. Structure deck. Yeah, the other disappointment was the the Weevil and the bugs and the like finding out like, oh, these like the dinos, like none of these things really. Of course, that one came out over Metal Raiders, so by that time we kind of gotten the actual rules sorted out mostly. We were kind of trying to, in the beginning, our rules looked more. We were playing with the OCG's cards in the, but like the Bandai style gameplay, where it's like the winner, whoever had the like more stars in their graveyard loses. And then it evolved from there to like, life points, but 2000. We knew that life points had to play a role. It was like, well, what's more important, the stars or the life points? So we're like, oh, well, I think it's life points first, and then if there's some kind of draw or something, then it goes to the stars in your graveyard. Turns out none of that mattered. The 8,000 life points when the ECG finally hit the starter decks in the Legend of the Blue Eyes.